What's happening? How y'all doing? Today is Monday, April 15th, 2024, and we're here live at the greencardguys.tv channel. All right. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, helping you solve your immigration problem. Now, of course, you're welcome to drop a question or share your experience in the comment section. I'll try to answer them very soon. I'm going to talk about the topic of the day today, which is the March 2020, I'm sorry, May 2024 immigrant visa, okay, uh, visa bulletin, and also the backlog, okay. So here's the deal. There's still a heck of a ton of cases still delayed by Department of State. There's always delays in general, also with USCIS, but since the pandemic, even though it's been 4 years plus, we still have delays with people who are outside the United States. All right, so let me see if I can share my screen about that on the visa backlog. Of course, that report. Unfortunately, on TikTok, I'm not able to share it. All right. So actually, as of April 2024, it doesn't say a specific date, but now we're in April 15th, of course, middle of the month. There are 404,000 people still waiting outside the United States um, as of March 31st, and they've already been documentary qualified. So if you're wondering what documentary qualified is, stay on the channel. Go ahead and give us a follow up here or on down here on your respective channel. And you really want to ask questions. That's why I'm here live, folks. Now, of course, I can't walk you through step by step on your specific case. You'll need to talk to us, authorize us one-on-one. All right. But if you have any questions, you're thinking, maybe John can just point me in the right direction or answer a question or something, happy to see if I can do that. Please drop your question in the comment section. Okay. So before right when the pandemic hit 2020, 2021, the number of people that are delayed outside the United States was hovering above 500,000. And right now it still shows 404,000. They were trending downward. They were doing a good job in that sense the past year or so, but still stuck at 404,000 people. It's ridiculous. Okay. Um, Now, 52,000 of those people have been scheduled for an interview. And out of those 52,000 people, I'm sure, unfortunately, there's some people who are actually in the US and need to apply for a waiver and they didn't know about the waiver. And I know this because some people call us with this question like, John, some people say, like, John, I just have this feeling that something else needs to be done because I entered the United States without a visa and my prior attorney didn't mention anything. Yes, we've actually had people tell us that they've already had a lawyer for the first step and they didn't say anything about the waiver application. It's ridiculous. And like, that's why there's a lawyer involved, right? You got to get the action plan. You got to understand the situation. For us, we love to show our screen, share our screen, not show, share our screen, share the law so you understand. Because, of course, if I tell some of y'all, like, yeah, bad news bears, like, you actually have to apply for a waiver, but then it turns out you're like, do I really have to apply for a waiver? Because I'm going to tell you, it's taking right now, the trend right now for the waiver application, 601A, is taking 3 to 4 years. No one likes to hear that. I get it, right? No one wants to wait. But if you enter without a visa and you also don't qualify, if you don't qualify for an exception to that, your interview for residency has to be outside the US. Okay. And so you don't want to leave the United States if you've been in the United States living here without status, overstay, even if you had a visa, but overstay your visa by at least 180 days. Okay. Because between 180 to 365 days as a 3-year bar if you leave. But if you stay more than 365 days in America without legal status or overstayed, that's a 10-year bar, folks. You don't want to risk it, okay? It's not even risking, like the government knows. They will know because you have to fill out the application. You got to tell the truth, okay? It's always best to tell the truth. But before you do something that you think could get you in a situation, talk to an immigration lawyer one-on-one. Okay. And I'll share a story about that later. All right. Again, if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. I'll get to that soon. Thank you so much for your trust to ask. Because I know there's a lot of attorneys out there on a live show. I'm friends with some of them, right? But there's also some other people you want to make sure if they're even a lawyer, right? My degrees are in the other room, but at least you can see my shirt, right? Ting Law Group. All right. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States. If you're just now joining, I just want to share that with you. And yes, we do have a physical office. Some of y'all been asking us, messaging us like, "Oh, where's your office?" Like, I totally get it. Like, I know probably don't actually want to visit. You're welcome to. All right, you're welcome to visit. Get some grub. Come on down. Let's get some good food here in Houston. I'm from Dallas, so I was a little skeptical about Houston, but I know y'all get it. I understand. Y'all want to make sure you're hiring an attorney if you do hire one that has an office because if shit has a fan, which fortunate for us, we have processes in place. Our operations is what I think top notch, but some people might not think that. But we have a lot over 300 5-star reviews. Okay, folks, take a look at a Google business profile, type in Teen Law Group if you're considering to hire an attorney, even if it's for one little step in your case. All right. You may have already filed your case already, right? But you receive a request for evidence, a letter from USCIS, or you receive another one that's called Notice of Intent Deny, which is not good. You definitely really should consider hiring a lawyer when you receive that because it's a quick turnaround time. It's less than 30 days for a deadline, okay? All right, now let's get down to it. So, if you have been delayed, all right, so to recap this topic of the day, if you've been delayed by USCIS or Department of State and you think, like, I'm not sure if they've delayed me long enough or unreasonable, as John says, that's okay. Just contact us. We'll let you know. My team has our chart, okay? It's a chart that indicates when we're feel most comfortable legally to file a lawsuit. Because if you just filed your case 2 months ago, look, 6 months ago, look, that's not a situation to file a lawsuit. Okay, it depends on your case. Some people are emailing us, asking us. I get it, right? But not every case. Everyone's family situation is different. But you can contact your congressperson. Will they do anything? No, they won't. All right, because what they do is they're going to contact their liaison with immigration. They're eventually going to get back to you, maybe a month later, and they're going to tell you what the liaison told them and said your case is undergoing review, or they're not saying sitting, but I think of it as sitting. They're going to say that your case is undergoing background check. Okay, and then you're going to wonder, you're going to be misled to believe, does that actually mean something? No, it doesn't. Because what you were hoping they would do, so you got to remember your outcome. What is the outcome you're looking for? I'm not saying don't contact your congressman, but know the reality of things so you don't get disappointed. Okay. If you know how politics works in America, you likely won't be disappointed anyway. But just so you know, all right. Some people don't have any context about immigrant. Hey, thanks, Effie. Appreciate it. We just got these the other day. But anyways, um, we do have merch, by the way. We do have merch. I think it's on greencardguys.tv. So more to share there. But here's the deal. We just filed a case for asylum. The person was waiting for asylum interview. They've been waiting for more than 4 years. Okay. There's a lot of y'all waiting for more than 4 years. Now, of course, we're not going to file a lawsuit if you're not confident in your claim. But I would think that if you filed for asylum, that you're confident in your claim. Okay. So if you've been waiting for more than 4 years and you want the asylum interview sooner than later because you want asylee status and then eventually become a resident, you may want to consider filing a lawsuit. Okay. Now, if it's 2 years and you file for asylum, we can't help you right now. We got to wait another 2 years. All right. But if you want more information, you're welcome to go to our website, greencardguys.com, and scroll down to download one of our free guides. Okay. I'll share for more information, FAQs. All right. Now, on to the questions. How y'all doing today? Hope y'all doing well. Today's Monday, April 15th. It's tax day, folks. All right. So just thought I'd let you know, if you If you're in the United States working, whether you have resident status, non-immigrant status, or no status or citizen, you gotta file taxes, okay? Now you might be wondering, well, I don't have any status, John. Do I still need to file taxes? Yes. As an attorney, I have to tell you that that's what the law says, okay? And you might wonder, well, I don't have a social number. Okay. Okay, that's expected. Well, you have to apply for ITIN number. All right. Check that out. Check that out. And if you have a bookkeeper or accountant, hopefully they'll point you in the right direction about that. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for the questions. But I want to share that announcement. All right. User 2789 on TikTok. Is it okay to fill out TPS by yourself or through an attorney? It's up to you. If you want peace of mind, you hire an attorney, immigration attorney. Now, please make sure don't hire just any attorney off the street or off Google. Make sure that you can see their Google review, read their Google reviews, and see how the quality service, customer service is about. Okay, but in terms of you versus an attorney in that sense, you know me, I'm going to be a little biased, but I mean, forms by itself is easy, right? I mean, I hope you know how to fill out your own name, but that's not the point of hiring an attorney. The point of hiring an attorney is not for the forms, or it could be, depending on you, but it's more so for verification, due diligence. Make sure things are filed timely, filed with the right fee, filed, verified if you could even file. Okay, here's a story real quick. I had a client that had TPS renewed it every year, every time, right? And that was actually through a notario's office. If you don't know what a notario is, a quick lesson right here is a notary. You can become a notary in in Texas for like $115. I just renewed mine, right? But a notary is different than what it's considered in like different Spanish speaking countries. Okay, like a notary in those countries, from what I understand, they have some kind of legal authority, basically, almost like a lawyer. Okay, but in America, that's not the same. Okay, and if you're not from a Spanish speaking country, but your country nationality might have something similar, like someone in the community helping out. Yeah, so there's a huge difference. Well, anyway, long story short, this client became a client of mine because they got referred to immigration court. They got a letter. Well, actually, my client didn't get the letter. The application always had the notary's address, their office address. And fortunately, he had the wherewithal to let that client know, like, hey, you got an immigration court date, but it's today, by the way. Well, freaking A, man. Like that client, of course, ended up getting order removed, absentia, meaning didn't show up. And that's because she didn't know about it until the day of, and it was too late. So that was ridiculous. So I share the middle of that part, what caused her to call me, but really even before then, she should not have renewed. I'm sorry, let me go gender neutral. He or she should not have renewed that application in the first place because he or she had two crimes. Okay, that when you have two misdemeanors, it's an automatic rule out that you cannot renew TPS. But of course, a notary only charges 100, 200, 500. I don't know, maybe they charge 1500, and then you get jammed up and have to spend more money on an immigration attorney because you got sent to court, right? So that's just an example, okay? Hopefully, hopefully that helps. BB motivations. Can you travel to the US with an actively reviewed I-130? Um, do you have a visitor visa? I have a couple follow-up questions with that. First, do you have a visitor visa currently? If you do, you're more likely to get in. But if you're applying for a visitor visa now, you're likely going to get denied the visitor visa. And that's because you have a case on file. It has nothing to do about if your case status petition says actively review or not. Okay. But your question, you might be asking this question more in a different way because you're wondering like, oh, if it gets approved now, does that mean like you're gonna get the visa interview like in a couple weeks or a month? No, not even a couple months, unfortunately. Expect it to take even if actively review means like, oh, you're gonna get your I-130 decision next week, which it doesn't, not necessarily, then is your interview going to get scheduled X time? No, unfortunately, there's no black and white timing on that. Okay. Hopefully that gives you some context. Hopefully I understand your question. All right. Let's see here. Thank you so much for the questions. I'm just trying to go in order, really trying my best not to skip anyone. Okay. You're Michael on TikTok. You're a U.S. citizen born in Pakistan. Congrats on being a citizen. Can she? You talking about your fiance here or what? I don't know who you're referring to. I'm a little confused here. Can you get USA passport in Pakistan? Oh, while you're in Pakistan? I don't know if you can add an international address. I'm not sure. But you have to check online for that one, okay? The Department of State website, by the way. Receipt Afro on TikTok. Hello. Once you have an appointment for I-130 based on marriage appointment, can you hire an attorney to come with us? Yeah. So we're very flexible. We're unlike other law firms. Some law firms are really, really picky. They're like, no, you have to hire us for the whole thing. I understand. Everyone's budget is different. You can authorize us to help you, even when in the middle of the case, if you were to get a request for evidence or a notice of intent deny. I'll explain more what that is. But if you have waiting for an interview, yes, we're happy to help. It may depend on the location of your interview and which day, of course, right? Depends on that. Um, so send us a DM where you're located so we can be ready. Otherwise, if we're not available, we're happy to try to refer you another attorney, of course. We have a pretty decent network of attorneys we know in other cities across the United States. Now, if you're wondering, some of y'all might be wondering, well, why does she need a lawyer? Why does he need a lawyer? Okay, for the interview only. Because some people who go to the interview without an attorney and they don't select let's say they did have an attorney for the whole case, but not for the interview. Of course, it depends on budget. We really recommend an attorney be there because you don't want shit to hit the fan, okay? And sometimes, actually, most of the time, clients don't share everything to us. But let's say you didn't know this possible situation that would delay, would give you some problems at the interview. You didn't know about it, right? Let's say there's some identity theft and somehow USCIS thinks you're someone else also, right? Based on the biometrics. And you didn't know about it until you got there, right? So that's where an attorney can help. No one can predict this, right? But you need to be ready. So is it worth it that you already spent thousands of dollars to apply for a case for your immigration card, your resident status, okay, or to become a citizen, and then it got messed up because you could have hired an attorney for that step, okay? So a lot of things to think about. Not trying to fear mongering here, but look, it's your legal status on the line. You want peace of mind. I'm sure that's why you're here live. You want to make sure. Okay, going to YouTube here with Matt N. Do you need a waiver even if you're visiting the United States as a Canadian citizen? Now, Matt, thanks for the question. If you're talking about visiting in the sense like you're going to potentially overstay your visa, waivers needed depending on who your sponsor is, okay, and your scenario. So you're saying visiting with the visiting U.S. So I assume it's either ESTA or visitor visa. If you enter with that, you don't need a waiver. However, assuming your sponsor is a U.S. citizen, if your sponsor is not a U.S. citizen, regardless of how you enter the United States, with a visa or not, you need to apply for the waiver 601A. Okay, again, also depends who your sponsor is. Spencer on TikTok. Can you still file for a travel document after receiving a work permit and social waiting for interview? You could, but let me see if I can pull up the USCIS fee on the 131 because now it's April 1st or after April 1st. It's been 14 days since the fees went up. There's a new process with some applications, and unfortunately, It's no longer free for you. Okay, Spencer? You could try to argue it potentially that your case in general was filed before, but I think you would likely get that rejected and have to pay the fee for the 131, even though you have a case still pending. Okay. Prove me wrong. Let me know if you're able to get it in for free. But the 131 fee is, if we can find it, it is, if you're doing it on paper, okay, for advance parole document purposes, $630. Okay, they don't have online for the advance parole. Okay, but if you're doing it on for that reason, based on C9, it's $630. Okay, of course, check online yourself, but that's what I see right now. Alrighty. Thanks so much for the questions. Let's see. Thanks for your trust here. Okay, Sylvia. Wait. Mary British on TikTok. How long after submitting marriage papers you get back a response? So the first thing you would get is a receipt notice. All notices by the government on paper are 797C. That'd be on the top right. Right below it is the type of notice. Okay, so the first set, it's going to be several. You likely will get it all the same day in the mail. A receipt notice for all the different each form. Okay, now they'll likely also send you a notice, a paper that will invite you to do the online account. I highly recommend it if you can, because from my understand, if you get a request for evidence, it'll notify you through that my USCIS online account. But any status, by the way, status update there in terms of my USCIS account is not accurate. Okay. Now, hopefully I answered your question. All right, Bryce on YouTube, your wife's 601 waiver was approved. Congratulations to you both. How long will it take to get her a green card interview? It depends on a lot. It depends on the country. It depends of nationality. It depends on if you've been documentary qualified, you fill out the form, the DDS 260, pay the fees, all that, okay, among other things, financial documents. But let's assume you got the email. You got the email, or your wife did, and it said essentially your case is um, in the queue for an interview. Even then, that is not an indication that your case is going to get scheduled for interview next week or next month, unfortunately. Now, depending on, again, the country and nationality, it could be 6 months from now, or it could be 8 months from now, just to give you an idea. So it's kind of out in the open in that sense. But I would not expect your interview to happen in less than 6 months' time. If that happens for y'all, please share. Let us know. Our guest here would like to know. All right, so please share that. We'd love to share love for people to know wonderful news. All righty. Thanks so much for your questions. All right, Sylvia, I see you've copy and paste your questions, so now I can finally get to yours. Requirements for caregiver visa. So it's not a visa in a non-immigrant visa sense, NIV. It would be an immigrant visa. Okay, we strategize and go based on the EB3. Okay, that's for residency, not just a visa, but for resident status. But that process takes about 2 years. And that's not even considering the visa bulletin, because the visa bulletin is what sets the tone, sets the timeline in terms of employment-based cases for the visa interview. That's pretty much the last step. Okay, second to last. All right, so you have more questions about that? Okay, we do have a caregiver visa guide for free. Okay, Sylvia, so DM us and send us your email and name. All right, and one of our team members, probably Maria, will email it to you. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so if y'all are some of y'all parents, and your pain point is really high because you got especially little kids. I don't know, maybe you got teenagers and need help still. Let me know if that's still a concern. I'm a little concerned, but yeah, parenting kids is a lot of work. So if I had a nanny, that would be nice. But you have to strategize. You need to strategize a couple years in advance. I know it's wild, but you really have to. Not the sense like, oh, you're gonna pre-plan like before you get married, not even that, pre-plan before you conceive a baby, but that's likely not gonna happen. But as soon as a baby is born, or while your spouse is pregnant, you really got to start planning this, right? You need to strategize your support group, which may include a nanny. All right. How far for Kathy Brown on TikTok? How far does FOIA go? You're trying to get your visa, so you don't have to copy of your visa. You don't have to go to Juarez Cross in 1997. So this specific document would be CBP, Custom Border Protection, most likely. Okay, so it doesn't have a timeline per se, and most likely, if I were you, I would not provide that timeline in the request, because if you're so specified to them, and it's not that you would, I think you're just wondering in general, there is no restriction in that sense, okay, as far as I know. Well, let me see if I can pull it up on FOIA CBP. Let's see if it shows it here. But anyway, with customs, it tends to take at least CBP. It takes about seems to take an average 3 to 6 months, unfortunately. Okay, still better than the Department of State. I remember one FOIA that we sent to Department of State that took like about a year. That was freaking annoying. All right, let's see. All right, thank you so much for the questions. Ludu asks, how can I tell more details about Welcome Core program? I have no idea what that is. I have no idea. I mean, I Google search that real quick, but Welcome Core. Oh, I see. It is through the Department of State. I don't have. It looks like it's for refugees. That sounds like a good program to have, but I don't know information about that off the top of my head. Oh, that's good. You want to sponsor? Sounds like you're wondering because you're interested in sponsoring a refugee. I'll have to read about it, but I'm not sure right off the top of my head. Okay, I'm sorry, Ludu. All right. The Forbes on TikTok. Okay, how long does a consulate take to switch from status visa refused to visa issued? All right, that would be great to know, but there's no set timing on that, and it depends what you share with the consulate. Okay, we actually have several clients where of course, many clients where the visa should have been issued. There's nothing wrong with the background, but it says visa refused. They were submitted information from a 221G that the officer asked for, maybe even completed a DS 5535, silly, ridiculous form. Okay. But now it's like been several months. Okay. And so don't assume that the government, the visa officer, or the consulate embassy is going to do something for you. Okay. Now, fortunately, we have people who have followed, guests that followed us listen on a live show here, watch the other videos, and I realized shit's not going to move forward or change the status unless you get an attorney involved, okay? Or at least point you in the right direction. All right, because look, a lot of people would be stuck. I could imagine that, unfortunately. So you really got to take action to move forward to the next step, okay? And sometimes that is connecting with the immigration attorney one-on-one. So if you're wondering how to do that, okay, folks, on your respective platform, if you go to like the About page or the homepage, I guess, for YouTube, and right here on TikTok, it has a link. If you click on the profile page, click on that, answer a couple questions, not many at all, and it's going to redirect you to pay this amount. Okay, I can't say it out loud. I'll get banned on this platform that does this action, but it's less than a cup of coffee if you really think about it. Consider it a reservation fee. For a while, I didn't ask for that, but we have to as a team because our mission is to help you get legal status to live and work in America legally. Go figure, right? But the thing is, there's been a couple bad apples that didn't show up. So we had to start doing this. I don't think anyone wants to lose this amount. All right. So of course you show up, ask us, and we'll refund it because you showed up. So we're happy to help. All right. But if you don't show up, it's a little defeating for my team. Okay, they spend a lot of time and want to make sure they can help you out, of course, including myself. Someone trying to be funny. Jay Willie, am I the John and Kate plus 8 guy? No, and thank God. I mean, I got some hair, but I'm not that scruffy. All right, let me scroll. I know I'm trying not to miss anyone. Musa asked, TikTok, can you travel with the 512 Advance Parole? Yeah, generally you can travel Advance Parole. That's why you have it. But I don't know your specific situation. I don't know if you apply for asylum. So you obviously cannot go to your country of nationality if you want to keep the asylum case open. All right, just in case. Um, which I recommend not to withdraw the asylum application until you get the resident card in your hand. Kathia, you gonna follow up? I need to drink some water. More info. You need more info about FOIA trying to retrieve info from 97, your visas, lost visa from 97. Okay. So if you're talking about a visa itself, then that would likely be through Department of State. Okay. Department of State. So I would just file FOIA wherever you can. I think I responded to you earlier and I said custom CBP, but if you said visa, then I would try Department of State. I know it takes a long time, and I'm assuming that you want that information so you could show entry into the United States, right? And adjust that. So yeah, very important. I would try to get that done, file that as soon as possible because that could take a year. Maybe they got faster. Let's see here. Okay, with some of y'all copy and pasting question, it does throw me off a bit because I'm trying to go in order here. All right, Claudia on TikTok asks, Matt shares that she has a I-130 F2A priority November 2021, approved in February 2024. So I think you mean the petition. Okay, so I actually did want to talk about that. The May Bulletin just released very recently, I believe. So on YouTube, I can share. Let me see. I share my screen here. Okay, there we go. And yeah, it jumped. Okay, so it jumped in the April Bulletin for F2A, jump for F2A category for final action for all other countries other than China, India, Mexico, or Philippines. September 2020. Okay, September 8th, 2020, and it jumped to June 1st, 2021. Okay, so that's great news. But yours is November 2021. So you do still have to wait, okay, for Claudia. You still you should still get the email with a new case number, things like that. You still need to do all that, okay? Don't wait until November 2021 to do everything else. Okay, you mentioned 485. Well, for Claudia, are you, whoever it is for you or your significant other, are you in the United States? And if you're in the United States, do you have non-immigrant visa? Okay. So it just depends on the whole. I mean, have you maintained status? That's very important. Okay. If you don't know about this, sounds like you might be new to the channel. So you want to definitely schedule appointment one-on-one with one of our attorneys. Okay. But let's see here. Okay. To answer Antidote Lab's question, why is Nairobi embassy prioritizing diversity visas? It could be because they screwed it up. They got sued by the government many times before about diversity visas allocations got lost because they didn't get it issued before the deadline, and their deadlines before the fiscal year, which is several months from now. But I can understand why they want to prioritize that now. But would I recommend prioritizing it? No, they should have like different sets of officers for certain case types or visa categories, because that shouldn't be a reason to delay everyone else. All right, let's see. Queen T, hey, what's the cost of file for your stepson? All right, so assuming you're a US citizen and your stepson is under at least under 21, but if as long you can file for your stepson as long as your stepson, the relationship between um, his parent and you occurred before he turned 18, then you're good to go to file. Now, in terms of cost, I don't have it offhand, um, but unfortunately, it did go up. So it's about, I think it's about 2,300 to 3,000, depending on USD, depending what all you want to file. For your son, if he's not working age and he doesn't care about or y'all got it good and don't worry about him working, then you don't have to pay for the work permit, right? If he doesn't plan on traveling anywhere, which most likely not, then well, you never know. Then you don't have to pay the extra fee for the advance parole, so you reduce your cost there. Okay, so hopefully that'll help you out a bit. Hey Cesar, welcome back. Could I confirm that a Mexican national with LPR in the U.S. only needs a passport in the GC to enter Canada? Oh, I don't know about Canadian rules. I don't know about that, but what website would you check? Because I think about like global entry, I think about Nexus, Nexus, I believe. Um, Let me see if we can find that real quick. Global entry. Well, it's not really global entry. I think it just mean in general. There's got to be something that can show you about that. But yeah, I don't know if it'll be like a U.S. government website that can help you with that. Oh, your LPR. Okay, so LPR. So I know Department of State has a web page, a section about like travel advisory. So on that page, I mean, there's no concern about traveling to Canada, of course, but maybe the United States page can share something about your status for residents. But generally, the Department of State website is geared for either is not geared or customized for residents; it's customized for U.S. citizens. So that's the one thing to consider. But I found the page. I mean, I don't know if it'll help you in the right direction, but let me just share it with you. Okay. Okay, I just dropped it in the YouTube chat right there. Maybe that points you in the right direction a bit. Let's see. Thank you so much for your questions. I can only be on for another couple minutes here. I have another meeting I need to get to. I need to call a client. Let's see here. And I'm hungry. How are y'all doing? You gonna get lunch? U.S. citizen lived on in Section 8 home. Can he or she petition adjust for adjustment of status? Yeah, I mean, he could based on family relationship, but the difficulty is about the income, right? About the 864 affidavit of sponsor form. Now, he or she, as a sponsor, can have a joint sponsor or co-sponsor, all right? But then that person's income would need to qualify, all right? Hopefully that helps out. Shine bright. Hi, sir. Good day. Good day to you as well. You just want to ask, what is the age limit for a child to be sponsored? So if it's like you're both the biological parents, then or if you're the biological parent, you're sponsoring your child, then it's as long as you filed it before they turn 21. But I want to recommend that you file it as soon as possible. Do not wait. All right. Do not wait on that. Now, the other thing, though, as I mentioned to someone earlier, if it's a step parent filing, then you want to make sure the step parent relationship was created because of the marriage before that child turned 18. So there's two dates to know. All right. Hopefully that helps. All right, folks, this is a good time to ask y'all. Please go ahead and follow on your respective channel. Really appreciate it. But if you're still on, I bet you have a question or appreciate the way I answer the questions. And I really try to get to the point here. I'm not trying to like fluff it up, really go straight to the point. And if I can't answer your question, I'll let you know. All right. Now, of course, there's a lot of questions down in the feed. So I likely missed a lot of them. I used to talk a lot faster, but if I do that, y'all won't be able to some of y'all follow, but some of y'all won't be able to. Some people have asked me to slow down a bit. Bernadette on YouTube. You submit inquiry to get the, was it Montreal, I believe, MNL? Okay, that's good, but not the invoice number. I would just I would just reply back if you can. It might say not no reply. Then you have to submit another public inquiry and say, here's the case number. Now I need the invoice number. Go figure. Freaking government. So they don't think it through. And who knows? Maybe it's because that you asked for a specific number, and so they're like, "Oh, I need to give that specific number." But if they're really trained, they should know that if you don't have the case number, that also means you don't have the invoice number, because both of those are emailed at the same time. But America is the world superpower, but they just can't get shit done. So whatever. All right, next here. Briggy Brown Eyes. Been in the US for 2 weeks. GC will be mailed after processing, but how do you get your SSN and card? So it's supposed to be Social Security Administration is supposed to trigger in terms of the workflow. But look, if it's been if it's been more than a month, okay, just go ahead and schedule an appointment to your local SSA office. Okay, but usually it's supposed to be automatic. But there are some situations where it's not automatic. Maybe it's just because local area and it just didn't trigger that workflow. But yeah, you can go ahead and schedule an appointment. At least that was during pandemic. I remember they required the appointment. Okay, hablo español poquito. Mikey tiene una pregunta. Has a question about, I'll try to translate into English. How many years for waiver? Okay, if you were left you left to Sierra Juarez, your spouse is a citizen. Okay, well, I need to know more information, Mikey. Necesito más información, más hechos, okay? So, entonces, por favor, ir a la profile, okay? And I don't know how you say this. Click the link, okay? And escribir the notas in the forma, okay? All right, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, some people may need to apply for a waiver, whether you're inside the United States or outside the United States. But I think what Mikey's asking, he asked in Spanish, is if how many years you need to wait after having left in Mexico, all right, or having left the United States to apply for a waiver. So you can apply for it as soon as possible if you did not apply for it before, because the whole point of the waiver is to waive the 10 years, for example. Martha on YouTube, thanks for sharing your experience here. U.S. Embassy in Nairobi is taking over 18 months to issue interview letters for IR visas. What can be done to speed this up? Ultimately, it takes a lot of y'all to have the courage, because I already know several immigration lawyers that have experience with mandamus lawsuits to get the interview, okay? If someone didn't have it. Some of y'all already had the interview and just literally waiting for the visa only. And you already did your medical exam, you did all that. And here's the deal, if you waited a full cycle, because I think the medical exam is, I believe the medical exam is only valid for 6 months. But because it's taking so long and you already had an interview, the medical exam expires, the results. So then you have to do another medical exam. But then most consulates, embassies, you can't get another medical exam because you're supposed to show up with an appointment, right? So they have to reauthorize the clinic to allow you to get the medical exam, right? So what does it end up doing? You have, what is the action plan? You have to consider filing a lawsuit, okay? Now, it doesn't work for everyone, but 18 months, that is a hell of a long time. I would consider that unreasonable, All right. So give us a chat, contact us, or fill out our form there. All right, y'all. I've been on for almost an hour, I think. So I really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for your questions. I got to hop off because I got several meetings now, and I have to find some grub to eat. All right. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so much for questions. Please join me live tomorrow. I think I'll be on a little bit later after 12. But I'll see y'all soon. Okay. Y'all know what to do. Follow for more. Thank you. Peace.